All right, English teacher friend. So I know as I prepare for my beginning of the school year that having done this for 20 years now, that no matter how brilliant the group of kids I'm going to inherit are, that I will need to start at the basics, even with my AP literature students. And I could even say most of my college level students at the local community college where I teach at also will need a refresher on the basics of grammar, punctuation, and syntax. So, as many of you know, that are familiar with my work, I use Elements of Style by Strunk and White, so the Write It Right textbook, as kind of like a staple seminal textbook in my classroom. It's free. You can get it online, free PDF, and really make sure that my students know the basics very well before I attempt to make any miracles happen with regards to their writing. So, tell you a story real quick. When I was entering college, was had all intentions of entering the seminary, basically being a theology major as an undergrad to become a priest to join the seminary. And early my freshman year, I would ask the priest, "How do you pray? What's it look like? How do you pray? How do you meditate?" And it was such a personal question, and I didn't even realize it. And it was a very naive question. And my daughter came to me the other day. She's going to be a AP literature student in the fall. She's a senior in high school, and her teacher asked her, "How did you learn to punctuate so well? Like, what do you do to like really make sure that you know this stuff? Because you're one of my rare students that knows this." And she said, "Oh, geez, my father used to play games with me all the time. He tricked me into knowing this stuff." And it's true. When my kids were really little, I was always gamifying things for them, and one thing that I did was my Etch A Sketch, and I'd like to show you that activity, that exercise now, because it really works. So I with my students, not my my own kids, we do something called the 5 sentences of the day, and I show them 5 sentences. I just project them on the overhead that are all in need of grammatical, punctuation, and syntactical fixes, and they're like some of them are just devoid of punctuation and syntax and have grammatical errors abounding, and they need to be fixed. So I just do this as a bell ringer, probably first quarter, until I sense that the class has relative mastery of the concepts. So these sentences need fixing: grammar, punctuation, syntax. And some of you are familiar with my work and know that when I teach punctuation, I tell my students to exercise the pause, that they have to breathe the sentences. Oftentimes when students read, they don't have an audible voice in their head. And we know as good readers, like if we're just pleasure reading, I know I do this. I can get to the end of a chapter and say, wait a minute. What did I just read? I wasn't paying attention at all. And you know that the mind drifted and you lost that internal voice that was reading and dictating those words, word by word by word. So when they edit, especially before they submit papers and they're checking for their punctuation, their grammar, and their syntax, they have to breathe the sentences and exercise the pause. And I'll model that for you in just a second. So the other thing too that's really big for learning the basics and the foundational literacies, the elements of collaboration and competition. So with this Etch A Sketch, you can gamify it any old way you want. Students, you'll find once you begin to gamify your activities and your instructional approaches, students are wildly creative with making rules and guidelines and procedures for games. Just let them have some fun with it. Give them some authority in the classroom, and see where it goes. With this, I just kind of do a whole class. Here's the sentence. Here are the sentences. Fix them and ask for volunteers, or I call on people. It's more of a traditional way to teach grammar, punctuation, and syntax. So I have these Etch A Sketch slides, and on my board, my whiteboard, I have magnets of commas, colons, semicolons, hyphens, dashes, ellipses, exclamation points, and question marks. So all of the syntactical features that possibly one could have. And students come up and they punctuate these sentences until they are perfectly correct. So know as I breathe this sentence when I pause. It's actually two sentences. So note my pauses. Given the choice, I'd rather eat Mike and Ike's during a movie rather than a box of greasy popcorn. I hate getting my fingers all oily. So in basic fundamental punctuation, I begin by having my students identify the pauses. So I just ask them, where's the pause? Where do we pause? So some students will say after choice. Given the choice, I'd rather eat Mike and Ike's. So we're going to put a comma there. Given the choice, I'd rather eat Mike and Ike's during a movie rather than a box of greasy popcorn. And there's a pause there. So the question is, what do we do? You can put a period, a comma, a semicolon, a colon, a hyphen. All right, what do we do? Here's the trick. We know a lot of students are going to put a comma there, and it's a rife opportunity to have a conversation about the comma splice, right? So we just do these Johnny on the spot, and they see it live action, and you're going to notice that once you do these exercises, you're going to see far fewer comma splices. Kids need to see it. A full sentence coming into collision with a full sentence, and to avoid those comma splices. So we're going to slap a period there, and then you also can have a conversation about then and than. So that then is wrong. We're making a comparison, so it needs to be and I think that is the whole revision. So students just come up and put those magnets up there. And I have Velcro and tape as well, and they just come up and revise the sentence, and I have a whole bunch of these. So this Etch A Sketch has 50 like basic mentor sentences that I've created, that I wrote. So here's another one. Worms, all 33 species of them, need water to survive. So I do things like this. Again, where's the pause? Worms, comma, all 33 species of them, comma, need water to survive. But here's the kicker. I asked the kids, based in your Strunk and White manual, what's the name of this sentence? What's the name of this sentence construct? And ultimately they'll say, that's a parenthetical statement, Mr. Kuhn. And that's what I need them to know, because let's imagine we're in a writing workshop and Jason is projecting his introductory paragraph for Macbeth. And it's 4 sentences long. And the first 3 sentences are all short, simple, declarative sentences. So he's got this very chop, 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 chop rhythm to it. And as a class, we can say to him, Jason, why don't you take sentences 2 and 3 and combine them and make a parenthetical statement? So that's the level of sentence complexity that I want to get at with my students. So we're going to fix the commas there and make it a parenthetical, but we'll also have a conversation about that 30, which is spelled out, and the 3, which is numeric. Do you spell out numbers or do you go numeric? So have conversations about that, and just teach bell ringers, quick mentor sentences. Takes 5, 6, 7 minutes. My desk is an absolute wreck. I need to clean it. Again, we know that most of our students, on day 1 of the academic year are going to throw a comma there. So fix this stuff early so that you're not harping on them in April, May, and June, at the end of the academic year about stuff that they should be, mastering in August and September or whenever your academic year begins. So great conversational piece here about, periods and semicolons and hyphens, and that, comma splice that we see so often. And here's another one. Just give them a few. My dog has 3 legs. It got hit by a car. Again, simple sentences, simple teaching, and eventually you're going to get mastery if kids are giving you an iota of attention. And they're sitting there in class knowing what they're going to put on the board. And I guarantee you, at least my kids, even my AP Lit kids, would probably almost uniformly put a comma there and create a comma splice. And we can fix that stuff very early in the year. So just a few. A psychic has one purpose: to predict your future. So teach the colon, teach the hyphen. If you have a chance, comma, ask her if she'd be interested in going to the prom with me. Exercise the pause, right? And we're going to fix shed and use the apostrophe. So I just go on and on with these. I like the car, but it only comes in two colors, purple and pink. I want a white or black one. So we just do 5 a day, and bell ringer, warm-up exercise, and ultimately I see these skills transfer over into their writing. So all in all, I have 50 of these in that slide. So know that my summer short course series is in full swing, and that on July 12th, we will be doing the Nuance Academy, where we will study things like how do you equip students with the toolbox, the necessary toolbox to cease making grammatical, punctuation, and syntactical errors in their writing. And this is just some of the stuff we have up our sleeves, gamifying it, visualizing it, contextualizing it, bell ringers, skill and drill. So July 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be live in Zoom, and I'll go over the whole arsenal of exercises and activities I have to really ensure that students have mastered those basics. But it's not just about grammar, punctuation, and syntax. How do you go next level to teach them voice rhythm and flow? To be, I call it rubric crushers. So how do you, get them to master rule number 18 by Strunk and White, so that they can get into, at least our AP kids, the 5-6 territory on the rubric and get that voice point, that pizzazz point. So we'll be discussing that on the 12th. In terms of other things that the Summer Short Course series is going to offer, we're going to do AP Strategies for Success. I have a class for Lit and Lang where we'll explore how the templates can be used uniformly to write all 6 FRQs. I'm also going to be doing a short course on my alternative grading methods, Plato's Plato discussion, and some of my gamification methods. So good news is several teachers have asked about the Teach It Right 5-week mastermind. I have learned that I'm teaming up with the National Writing Project, and we're going to be offering the 5-week mastermind through the National Writing Project. So those of you that need your professional development hours certified and sanctified, then the National Writing Project can give you that stamp. So I'll be working with them. We're going to launch our first course August 9th. And then, as many of you know, I'll be at the NCTE conference with Tim Freitas and Brandon Abden this coming fall in Anaheim to present with those two fine fellows. So if you want more information about any of the irons I have in the fire, feel free to reach out at teachingwritingcoach@gmail.com. You can also visit my webpage at www.teachinghowtowrite.com. All right, take care for now. Be well. Happy teaching, happy writing.